Yep, not clickbait, season 27, we have a major update and fix coming to the overall audio mix. Literally one of the most complained about things pretty much ever on Apex Legends. Recently, I got invited to hear from the dev team on what they've been working on, well, this past Thursday. So let's take a quick listen to some footage that they shared. Now the last one. Okay, we're gonna break all this down, but I just wanted you to just hear overall, and you can make your own impressions because this is the footage that they shared. This is early, but you can hear and visually see the intention based on what they're showing, and we're going to break all of this down because we know the mix of the game is quite complex and a ton can be going on. There's a lot more underneath the hood. I think some of you guys are going to be really excited. So let's discuss what's changed. 4 big things. There's a focus mix that is a new default. A dynamic threat system turns down noise when danger spikes. So when you're in combat, footsteps punch through explosions with smart compression. Indoor and outdoor audio blends smoother. So what does this focus mix do? Well, your gunfire and abilities are slightly quieter. Squad mates' footsteps are completely removed. Yeah, you heard that right. They are completely removed. Enemy footsteps are louder with clear differences between walking, jogging, and sprinting. But overall, if you dislike this mix, you can always switch back to the original Apex mix. Okay, so now what is this dynamic threat system? Okay, so this new system reacts to what's happening around you. It looks at things like enemy proximity, line of sight, and bullet distance, and then automatically lowers background sounds when the danger level spikes. That means when you're mid-fight, the game intelligently ducks out irrelevant noise so you can hear what actually matters, like team pushing your flank. It also suppresses non-combat voice lines when combat starts, so your legend won't yell, every voice line. I mean, they made a joke and it was like example Vantage. I mean, she won't stop talking, right? They used her actually as the main basis, they said during the Q&A. Well, a common question people all asked is, what about explosions? One of the Apex Legends' biggest issues, especially in end zones, you lose footsteps under explosions. Now, the audio engine uses multiband sidechain compression, pretty much a way of saying it dips overlapping frequencies for a fraction of a second. Grenades still hit hard though, but footsteps get a little bit of a pocket in between. So yeah, it's not just gonna lower it, but it's gonna mix it a bit more. So next time, at least when a Gibby ult is landing, you're gonna be able to tell where your enemies are pushing. So let's discuss the environment. The old system switched instantly between indoor and outdoor reverb when you cross a doorway. Well, now it's smoother. Apex gradually blends those soundscapes for a more natural, immersive feel. You'll notice it when moving through a tight interior or climbing buildings. It's subtle, but they claim it's way cleaner. So what they did is they derived this from multiple modes. They showcased multiple screenshots. The devs shared telemetry that shows just how much this improved since season 25. This has been an ongoing effort, but we're going to see the most drastic one here now. In the first graph, it tracks interrupted footsteps and ranked. So after season 25, season 25.1 updates, there was a massive drop from around 120 interruptions per match to under 15. So this isn't the mix that we're talking about. We're just talking about like footsteps that are missing overall. So they're working on it. And where footsteps are most likely to get lost is they showed the clusters where people tend to fight, all kinds of stuff. This data helps the audio team target fixes at specific POI, surfaces, and modes. So now, in the new season, if they've been working on this, you're probably asking, well, what are you going to notice? You're going to notice that footsteps sound sharper, more reliable. There's less clutter with ults or abilities when they go off. Fewer indoor weird sound flips. Voice lines will interrupt pretty much critical sounds. You'll still hear all the Apex chaos. It's just going to be more balanced. Now, the goal here, and we're going to get into this in the Q&A, wasn't that they want to make the game quieter. They just want to make it clear. Now, while this is an improvement, the dev team has shared there are some problems, so they're aware. I think this is great. At least they're acknowledging, hey, there's still work to be done. It's not over yet. Vertical audio is still stereo based. They're experimenting with spatial audio tech. Nobody's really knows what this means, but I mean, I guess it's like just 3D soundscape, I guess, but it's tricky because everyone's headset and ears are different. So they're working on it. I'm curious how this is going to be. This has always been a problem in every single BR if somebody's below you or above you, essentially. Another one was you are the kill leader or harvester lines being toggled on and off, but the focus mix lowers them during the fights. Voice chat clarity hasn't changed. Des said they love to improve upon it, but it's tied to bandwidth and server-side limits. They've also mentioned per teammate volume sliders and ping spam cooldowns are being explored for future updates. Now, a lot of us did ask questions that were there, and so I made sure to mark some of them down. Here's some of them. Will there ever be an option to turn off voice lines like you are the kill leader or chatty legends? They've rebuilt the dialogue system to allow dynamic prioritization. Voice lines will now quiet down during fights. Full toggles aren't planned yet, but they might consider it in the new system. It doesn't go far enough. Now, technically, in your own UI, you can turn these down. So when we ask this question, we are aware you can just remove voice lines. I think more or less the question is prioritize like the smart voice lines, you know, like you want to know when people are getting cracked, but you don't necessarily need to hear echolocation, you know, all that fun stuff, right? So the next question, what about a true competitive audio mode, like no ambience and all? I actually had, this is one I asked. This is one of my own personal questions. The focus mix is the first step towards that, is what they said. They tested near silent mixes internally, but they said it made the game feel disorienting. They said it didn't feel like Apex Legends. I guess it kind of was like, you know, you ever seen those viral things where you're like the PlayStation 2 backroom kind of stuff? They said it felt creepy. So instead, they opted for ambience lowers dynamically based on your threat level. So less sound when fighting, more when exploring, to kind of create a dynamic, right? I guess it kind of makes sense too. We'll get into this. There's some other questions that are interesting. So next one, could Apex ever add visualized sound effects like Fortnite's compass indicators? So they said they built it, they tested internally for months. It worked, but it cluttered the screen and gave too much of an advantage. They'd rather try to fix the audio so players don't need visual aids. So now, next, is vertical audio like footsteps above or low finally getting fixed? This one's kind of like a double question. They said not yet, same thing, they're working on it. They don't have a release window, but it's something that they're trying to work on. The next question, why does sound sometimes drop in endgame? This is something everyone always, I mean, I'm gonna answer this one myself, is that there's just a lot going on. But they said it's a known bug. They've seen reports of missing gunfire, impacts, and fatal chaotic rings. It's still under investigation. They're reviewing I can't speak all of a sudden, you know the word I was trying to say, and trying to reproduce it internally overall. So last question here, can you add more sliders for sound customization like separating ults, footsteps, voice? This one, I didn't ask this one, but I thought it was really interesting. They're cautious about this because then players will just remove whole parts of the game, and then you will have to ultimately just use those. And if you're ever watching content, it's just kind of, there's no consistency. It means that all players have to play the same thing. Their goal is to create competitive consistency, but still keep the integrity of what Apex Legends is supposed to sound like and play like. Overall, I think this is exciting. Hopefully this covers a lot. Hopefully some of the questions answer a lot of what you guys have been curious about. I'm curious to play this myself. I'm really hyped. All I've got to go off of is just the clips that you see there. But overall, I see the intention, and it's nice to have some really strong progress. Probably the biggest progress I've ever seen. So again, what do you guys think? Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And well, see you guys all in the next one.